This is Home to All, an all-inclusive real estate podcast with your host, Nicholas Acosta. Nick sits down with guests to talk about real estate and how it works. Reach him at downtown.expert on Facebook and Instagram, or his website, www.downtown.expert, or call or text him at 407-508-8809. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, everybody. This is Home to All, an all-inclusive real estate podcast. I'm Nick Acosta, a Florida licensed real estate broker here in Central Florida with Downtown Expert Realty, LLC. You can reach me at 407-508-8809 or on Facebook and Instagram at downtown.expert, or visit my website at www.downtown.expert. Joining today here in studio, I am with the green screen behind me. This is the interior photo I took of my now under contract listing in Kissimmee, 4985 Bond Street West. I'm actually going there today after this podcast to open the door for the buyer's agent as well as their inspector. And I'm going to get to see my awesome sellers and have lunch with them and sit down with them and actually get to enjoy each other's company today and kind of relax. So it's going to be an awesome day. Nice. But today's podcast segment is brought to you by Blanchard Insurance. Blanchard Insurance is a paid sponsor of today's episode. Today, my guests, I've got Mike Tarantino, the CEO and president over at Blanchard Insurance, as well as introducing Marcus Tarantino with Blanchard Insurance. Welcome, Mike and Marcus, to the podcast. How are you guys doing today?
Excellent. Thank you for having me. Do you want to start out, Mike?
Yeah. Happy Halloween. Happy election day to everybody. Yeah. I'm here with Uncle Sam, trying to be a little patriotic here. Everything's going great. How are you doing, Marcus?
I'm doing great. I do want to start out by saying thank you, Nicholas, for having me on the podcast. I appreciate that. And I'll go ahead and start out with my background a little bit.
Okay.
So I am from Southwest Florida originally, just south of Tampa, Sarasota, in a city called Northport. I attended Venice High School, and I played baseball all 4 years. Two out of the 4 years, we won 2 state championships, so that was pretty cool. That was very exciting. And then I went to UCF, the University of Central Florida. I joined 2 of my brothers. They both attended the university at the time. I actually have 3 brothers. So I have 2 older brothers that are going to be 24 in 2 days, so happy early birthday to them. And then I have a younger brother that is 16 years old as well. So I did go to UCF for 4 years. The first 2 years, I was full-time school, and I would work summers home doing construction with my dad's company. And then my junior year is when I came across Blanchard Insurance, and I worked in the sales department for about 9 months. And I was just answering phone calls, discussing coverages, speaking with clients. And then about a couple months ago, I moved into the sales agent position once I obtained my insurance license. So I'm just, very excited for the future and glad to be here. Thank you.
No, awesome. Thank you for taking out time out of your busy schedule, Marcus, to join Mike and I today on the segment. Mike, what about you? What's going on with you over there?
Busy. We, the end of the month, when it comes on a Friday before a holiday weekend, it's always nuts over here at Blanchard Insurance, but we're used to it and we actually like it and enjoy it and thrive in it. So it was a very late Friday night trying to help our realtor partners and our lending partners and title partners as well, not to forget them, close on a lot of these, homes. And it's funny because the middle of the month is always crazy for us when closings happen in the middle of the month and then the end of the month. So it's almost kind of Thursday we had a little bit of reprieve and then Friday was just a late night, but we like it. I mean, that's really where we strive. So we did a lot of closings on Friday, getting the insurance secured. So that's been, that was good. I really kind of had a low key over the weekend. I know I'm going to embarrass Marcus a little bit here. I know you, and I got to ask Marcus, what were you? I couldn't picture it. Were you a Spartan? I don't think it was a Spartan. Alexander the Great.
For Halloween, I dressed up as a Spartan. It was a Spartan.
Really?
It was actually a pretty sick costume. I wish I could show you a photo of it, but it was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Is great. I was like, is he Alexander the Great, a Spartan, or a
I even had the whole wig. I had the whole wig.
Yeah, you had the blonde hair. I was like, are you a Viking now? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, but did you go out downtown or?
So that night we had a little party at my brother's place. He lives at Sky House, so we stayed there and we had a little party, and then we did go to another party out that night. It was fun. We had a great time. It was really
awesome.
Good time.
Awesome. Yeah, I know downtown was for better or worse. They just looked like they had opened up the floodgates down there for the street party. It was a little bit scary. I was kind of like, I don't know if that's the best idea right now. I didn't see too many masks, which is a little bit scary, but hey, you know what it is. So, but yeah, and then, everybody's getting out and, voting today if they already haven't. It seems like a lot of people have already voted early, from what I've seen, including myself. So, everybody, hopefully get out there and vote and, participate in the, the democracy that we have. And one thing I was thinking about when I was driving into the office this morning, and my thought on that was, I know a lot of people are really apprehensive about what the outcome of this election is going to be, and whether it's going to cause further civil strife and looting and rioting, depending on the outcome of it. And it's really interesting. I was watching this documentary, and I think it was Sunday night, and I'm like one of those old men who, is channel surfing, and I come across one of those World War II documentaries, and like I click on it, I end up watching it for like 5 hours. I'm just like, I feel like an old man, like, and it's kind of like, falling. Yeah, and what my dad used to do. But this one was really interesting. I really watch a lot of World War II documentaries, but this one was on like actually World War I. And I think it was on the History Channel. And it was called, I believe, something in the lines of, World War I Apocalypse or World War I Armageddon. And when I was driving into work this morning and thinking about everybody's stressors and their apprehensions about the outcome of this election, and I'm thinking, like really in the society that we live in today, when you compare what this world has gone through in the past. And I think that, we do forget, what do they say? If you forget your history or don't learn from your history, you're condemned to repeat the past. And I'm looking and I'm going like, we had a world economy collapse, back with the Great Depression, followed up by a war that was just could have ended. I mean, literally almost ended the world. And, really what the society we're living in today, we really don't have it that bad. I mean, we're not sitting here as young men, or I'm an old man now, I guess, but, we're not being conscripted at, the age of 18, sent over to live basically in, a ditch on a foreign soil for months at a time, living in just pure death and decay for years. And looking at the numbers and they were throwing out in this documentary about, millions of artillery shells being shot in a day. And I was just like, I was blown away. Crazy. I was just like, oh my God, like, can you imagine that? So I just want everybody else out there to kind of realize and think about that, I know a lot of people, we are a society of, complainers, unfortunately, right now, but to think about that and look at the past and look how far we've come and really look and say, hey, things are not as bad as they were, and progressively they've gotten better over time. So we can't really focus on, the negative. And I guess that's my sage advice to the world today on Election Day.
No, I completely agree with you, Mike. I think about that all the time. Like what you're saying, people that do complain out there about how life is bad or something like that. Nowadays, when not to get onto a political tangent or talk about war or anything, but just to bring up maybe about history, is that nowadays, war is not. I mean, we do still have in-person combat or in the field combat.
Yeah.
And then you have things that happen that we don't know about that are top secret, that happens when we're sleeping or in other countries that they're taking care of. But most of it's probably taken care of now through the use of computers or technology.
Absolutely.
And it's not the days of now we have issues, and this is an insurance topic for another day. But I just thought of this as you were talking. You gave me this idea in my head about this, was that it's cyber stuff that happens. We have cyber wars now instead of
absolutely
launching missiles or setting up bombs or whatever, landmines or, mines in the sea, see when their boats go by. So yeah, I mean, it is crazy still in this world. And yes, we're dealing with a pandemic, and we're also dealing with a pandemic today that we're handling a lot different than like 1912 when the Spanish flu came through.
Exactly.
So
Right.
yeah.
I mean, we're not, and I forget, they were talking about this one battle, and I think it was on the Belgian front. And to put things into perspective, I mean, and I believe it was launched by like the British and the Canadians, press into German lines, and the numbers were staggering. I mean, it was literally like 200,000 dead within a few days. And I was just kind of blown away by that statistic and looking at going like, yes, we do have COVID. It is a horrible thing. It is a pandemic, but we are getting through this. And, we can't, we got to look at it in perspective. Yes, we are going to get through it. We are better off than we were 100 years ago. Let's keep moving forward. Yeah. And to touch on what you were talking about in regards to, cyber and, what's going on with that. I don't know if you guys saw this article, but I was actually talking to a friend who online who works up in the hospital system in Vermont, and they got hacked and it shut down the hospital literally like for 2 days. I mean, they went back to paper files, and I mean, pretty much, nurses and everybody's like walking around paper files. So the complete network shut down. It actually made the news, and it was a Russian cyber group that had launched it, and they actually hit, I believe, a couple banks, and a couple of the banks over the weekend were shut down for at least like 5 or 6 hours. So yes, to what you're saying is that is the new, the new battlefield, unfortunately, that's coming out, that the wars are being fought on right now.
Right.
Yep. How about you, Marcus? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, to that point, what you were saying there, like, just back in the day, so many people lost their lives, and now we're sitting here battling with each other and, arguing with each other and fighting, and our country is, almost divided. And it's like, we had it so much worse. People had it so much worse back then than today. So it's like, just be grateful for where you're at and, appreciate that.
Absolutely. So on some good topics, more positive notes.
Yeah, we got a little dark. We got a little dark there.
A little deep there, but it's it's important to bring this country together. But in the insurance world here in Central Florida, things are getting interesting. I mean, companies like we've talked about in weeks past have really tightened up their underwriting and some staggering figures. I mean, I kind of post some of this stuff on my Facebook page as well, but I was reading this stat the other day where it was in claims being represented by attorneys here in Florida, and the number had gone from 30,000 in 2018 to in 2019 to 60,000, and we're expected probably to double that number by the end of 2020, which is, hey, when everybody's insurance rates going up 50 to 100%, well, we got 120,000 lawsuits going on right now with, roof claims and water claims here in Florida. And it brings me, to, it was funny because over the weekend, one of our agents, we're always working on the weekends, for our agents, and he had a realtor who ran into this risk, and he sent me over the inspections, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, like, what do I do? What do I do with this?" And it was a duplex, owner occupied. Wanted to rent out the other half of the duplex, and it was a mansard roof. A lot of people don't know what a mansard roof is, but it's flat on top and shingles on the side, and aluminum wiring in the house. And I hadn't seen this in a while, which was the actual HVAC units were on the roof. So, and I forget, they were railed into the roof, and it was just like, I'm looking at this house going like, oh my gosh, looking at the insurance company's appetite, going like, well, this company's not going to do it. This company's not going to do it. We did find a home for it, but it was getting harder and harder because a lot of companies are just looking at it from an underwriting perspective. And I know a lot of realtors out there, you do get frustrated, and and our frustrations is equal on the underwriting side, because we're looking at an underwriter going like, well, if a hurricane, class 4 comes barreling through Orlando, it's going to rip the AC off the roof. Is that a good risk for insurance?
Right.
Aluminum wiring in a house, which is a fire hazard if you don't have a Lumicon nowadays, is that a fire hazard? I mean, there was just so many things about this property that we were, but it's something that we're dealing with on our side. So I do understand that, the real estate frustration out there. And I mean, Marcus, you see this on, working with, our realtor partners on a daily basis as well. I mean, what do you see with the market tightening up?
No, I see a lot of competitive rates. I've been quoting a lot. I've seen a lot of good rates come back. I've seen a lot of good discounts with wind mitigation credits and everything. I think, there's a very strong market out there, and I have great success since I've started. So, I'm really excited about, continuing to keep that success.
Good. One thing that we, just to update you, Nick, on what we've done recently, and I don't know if you can get to it on our page because it may be a separate landing page, so it may come up on our Facebook page or our Facebook feed, but we started a new campaign that we put together, and it was kind of the brainchild inside the office one day that we were thinking about the fact that, yes, insurance rates are going up. You're seeing a roofing billboard everywhere. I mean, I two of my neighbors work for roofclaim.com now, and it's cyclical. I mean, eventually, once everybody has a new roof in Florida, that they're going to go to Georgia or North Carolina, and this problem's going to go away. But we took a look at it, and the way we operate here is like we like to look at challenges like that in the industry and turn them into opportunities. So we started this new campaign that's called basically New Roof, New Rate. And we do have a landing page for it, and it's for realtors, it's for consumers as well, to go on there, because the irony is yes, everybody's gotten a new roof because of hail, whether it's legitimate or fraud, but it's also the opportunity for those clients that's kind of like, well, now the insurance companies like you because you do have a new roof, so it's a good risk for them for the next 10 or 15 years.
Right.
So we're imploring, so we kind of like flipped it on its head, saying this is a bad thing happening in our industry, but how can we help people as well? So it's like, you got a new roof, it's time to check your rate. So shop your rate around with all the companies we represent. And we plan on, we've done a lot of social media advertising on this, and we hopefully, we want to do a commercial and put it on a billboard, but it's New Roof, New Rate. And you'll probably in your Facebook feed at some point in time see the advertisement, and it's an easy click. I mean, it's literally filling out 4 pieces of information. If you have a roof inspection, you can upload it right there, and we can be back in touch with you with a rate probably within a few hours. That's how easy we're trying to make this transition right now.
No, that's awesome, guys. That I think I did see that. I was looking on here on your actual Facebook page now, but I looked at I think I got some kind of alert or something like that in my Facebook feed itself.
Yeah.
With an ad that popped up, maybe because I'm friends with you guys on Facebook, and also maybe it tagged because I'm a real estate broker, a real estate agent. So that's probably what happened, and I got it in there.
Right.
It was really cool that it came up. So that's awesome that you guys are always looking for innovative ways to keep moving forward, and it's important nowadays, especially with the pandemic that we had and that we're still going through, that, you always have to, we were just talking before the show, Mike and I were talking, I have a license or Florida adjuster's license, 620, all of my adjusters. And now I'm going to go through the process of converting it to a public adjuster's license. Yes, right now things are going well in real estate, but my late father was always an advocate about diversifying your expertise.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That way I have something else there, and keeping that license, which I've had the license since 2005, 15 years now, when I was like 24 when I got my adjuster's license, but converting it over to a public adjuster's license so that if anything should happen, I'm always prepared. And just like your insurance out there with Blanchard Insurance, making sure that you reach out to them and you get a quote for your insurance coverages, because you want to be protected out there when it comes to either home ownership, automobiles, and anything else out there, cybercrime, or technology or internet theft or whatever you want to call it.
And yeah, I mean, to touch on something that you just said, and where we kind of differ from I'd say all of our competition is most of the people who work for our company did not start off in insurance. And we look for that when we are recruiting people into our organization. I mean, I know we had Marcus's brother on a couple of weeks ago, Antonio, who had a GC license or currently has a GC license. And the reason we recruited him to bring him on was he has all that, and he works with builders, he works with, and as well as Marcus, because he comes from obviously the same family, but they work with builders, they work with contractors and whatnot, so they already have that expertise to bring when they're bringing the insurance to them. We have people in our office who have been realtors for 20 years before they made the hop over to insurance. We have people who worked in the title space. Jamie, I mean, she worked in the mortgage industry before she got into insurance. So we really like to have a diversified background, and we kind of think of ourselves here in the office kind of like a think tank. So if I don't know an answer about building codes, I can call Marcus up, I can call Antonio up, get an answer. If I have a question about real estate that I don't understand, I can go to Mark across the hall in my office, who held a real estate license for 20 or 30 years, or Jamie about mortgages. So we really like to bring that value to our clients besides just saying, hey, look, I'm an insurance agent, I can't help you out, go somewhere else. I mean, I don't know what's next for Blanchard Insurance. Maybe, we'll get somebody who is, I don't think we can afford it, but, it'd be nice if we could hire somebody who was a doctor or a lawyer, and, convert them over to the insurance, but they just make way too much money for us to do that. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. And I commend anybody out there, especially in the real estate industry. I always say that, just go out and diversify, maybe you get a home inspector's license, maybe get a mortgage license. And you see a lot of realtors doing that, getting into title and, other backgrounds as well. Because it was interesting to see, unfortunately, what happened in 2008. And a funny thing was, or not funny, I mean, because it was a horrible time for everybody, but right. An insurance company, there's a major insurance company in the state of Florida called People's Trust Insurance. And during the downfall of 2008, I can tell you for a fact that everybody who went to work for that company basically was from real estate, because the real estate market had crashed, and that company was started by realtors. I mean, literally, they had hundreds of realtors working for that company, which launched in 2008. So it makes sense, and for anybody out there, right. Diversify your skill set, and to have something else to fall back on.
Right.
No, I completely agree with that. It's crazy, the world we live in, and you always have to be prepared, and that's why I'm glad and grateful that I've kept up my license with my insurance adjuster's license this long, and but I will be converting that over. And then of course I told you guys before the show I just applied for the instructor's license. So when it comes down to if there is another market slowdown, then I'm diversified where I get money teaching or instructing, and also, but it's also an ad, just like you guys have a Blanchard Insurance. It made me think of something, Mike, when you said this. You guys diversify the insurance agents and all the insurance staff that you guys have at Blanchard Insurance with their backgrounds of being different in different areas. Like you're talking about Jamie and everybody. And basically what I'm saying is that the same thing with real estate. Not that I just want to go out and teach real estate, but also as a broker, I want to have that as a agent attraction. Hey, by the way, I'm also a licensed instructor now. Once I get my, I've got to take the exam first. I just applied today to take the exam. But I want to have that in my back pocket, because then I have to be held accountable, or I'm already held accountable for doing my continuing education, like you guys do with insurance. Same thing that anybody else listening to us. And same thing with real estate and insurance. So getting my instructor's license is going to help me be even more of a higher moral high ground, or whatever you want to call it, because I'm going to have to keep up with this new material. But then that's going to make me, share that with independent contractors or staff members I have to make sure we're still compliant. And that same thing goes with you guys over at Blanchard Insurance with insurance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Marcus can tell you that I've gotten to a point in my career where about 90% of my day is spent actually mentoring and answering questions and helping, guide, the younger generation getting in the industry, like Marcus, because for better or for worse, I got like almost 20 years of experience in doing this. So I've seen and done everything. And it's like, I can only do so much myself. So my value in the organization has become to help increase Marcus's value and extend that knowledge to him. And just like you were saying, Nick, only so much can be learned from a book or a state course, but you really need, a good teacher. And it's not just the industry, it's a lot of life skills. It's how to market yourself, how to brand yourself, what works, what doesn't work. I tell Marcus all the time, like he'll come to me, is this a good idea or that good idea, is that a bad idea? And some things I'll just say, hey Marcus, it's a giant pothole, don't drive your car over. I've done it so many times. Why do you want to take the bullet when I've already taken the bullet? What do you think about that, Marcus?
No, I totally agree. I'm very, young, hungry, motivated agent. And, to have the experience of such a, a veteran agent there is very helpful. It's awesome. It's great to have, for sure.
And I think a lot of companies get, I was having this conversation the other day with somebody about, I think, we were discussing, they actually just left another job in another organization. And I had looked everything up on Glassdoor, but before I even spoke with him, but he said, and all the former employers he had worked for was this, they were pretty large employers, but the common complaint among most companies nowadays is a disconnect from the ownership and the upper management to the actual staff. And me and Jamie here at Blanchard, we've made a very conscious effort to bridge that gap. Marcus can tell you, I have an open door policy. You can come in my office and, we can sit down and talk at any time during the day, because that is my most important role. If Marcus is not moving forward, I'm not moving forward, the company's not moving forward. And I think a lot of companies have been distracted by that. And to touch on that a little more is, as companies got to be looking, especially in real estate, financial services, and insurance or whatnot, mortgage, title, everybody's got to be looking down the road in 5 years of what your company is going to be looking like. Because we have AI teaching AI already. We're talking about I was reading this thing on augmented insurance the other day, which I never thought would come to fruition, but it's coming. And you need to, more of the role of the real estate agent down the road is not just going to be, hey, I'm showing a property, whatnot, but it is going to be a truly advisor position, just like insurance. It's like, me sitting here quoting you a million quotes, data entry is not going to be my value. I can have a computer sorry about that. I can have a computer do that, but my role is to advise you on what's the benefit of doing something versus the risk versus the reward. That's, really where my thing, and that's what we're really trying to train, and mentor Marcus on, is what his role is going to be in 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I completely agree. Sorry. Hey, geez. Sorry, guys, about that.
No worries.
It's right. We live in a condo. It's all good. It's part of the process of living at home and working from home, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, but it's good that I love being out in the field too, and I agree with that, Mike, and you guys completely 100% about an advisory role. I was actually thinking I was going to make a joke and say, just to let you know, I don't have a license in this. I'm not licensed in the state of Florida for this, but we're also like therapists or psychologists in real estate, and probably also happens in your industry as well in insurance, because like you said, we're advisors to people. People are looking to protect their most important asset out there, whether it be a home. Well, they need insurance to help protect that, and then they need a real estate broker like myself and real estate and insurance advisors like you guys, Mike and Marcus, to help guide them and lead them in the right direction, because they're putting a lot of risk on the line, whether it be in real estate and insurance risk type thing. So
yeah, absolutely. And people don't really we had this come up the other day where we were trying to demonstrate. It was basically a client, and they had gotten some quotes out there from several other competing agents against us. And the property was so massively underinsured, and we came back and just said, told the client, like, hey, our prospective client, hey, if you want to go with that, let me tell you exactly what's going to happen. It's all about transparency, saying that, hey, within 30 days, and you know how this is, Nick, the underwriter at the insurance company is going to come back and say, hey, we got to raise coverage up on this, make sure it's adequately insured because we don't want to be on the loss. Hey, if, the house burns down to the ground, and people, especially buyers out there, don't understand like how much it costs more to actually rebuild or renovate a house after a loss like fire or water. What you paid for your house is market value. What it costs to rebuild that up from the ground up. And to just give you a very basic example, my current home, we had some builder defects that affected about 25% of the home, and it cost over $100,000 in repair costs. And it was substantial. I couldn't believe it at the end of the day. And when we're working and properly insuring homes, we tell clients, things like, statistics like, an inch of water over 1,000 square feet, whether it be tile floor, getting into the drywall, it's like $10,000 worth of damage. And I'm sure you see this, Nick, on your side when it's kind of like, a fix has to be made to the property before it can be sold or before it can be bought in the negotiations. And some of those costs, people don't realize that, contractors aren't working for free out there. And right now in this industry we're in, where real estate's, very kind of hyperactive, I guess, for lack of a better term, that the construction costs, repair costs, renovation costs, contractors are inflated right now. So when you do see these figures, they are realistic.
Completely agree. So with that, guys, we're at the end here of the show. I wanted to ask first Marcus and then Mike, anybody advice for the week for anybody listening, watching today before we wrap up here in a minute?
Yeah, I'll just take it. Like I said earlier, I'm a hungry, motivated agent. I sell home, auto, commercial. Let me find you some insurance. Give me a call at 407-788-8640. Thank you.
I'll just add on to what Marcus said. Take a look at what you have insured from a perspective of, these are some of my most valuable assets. For the cost, don't look at it as insurance is saving $10. Look at it as, hey, I'm protecting, $100,000 plus. And to pay that $10, trust me, you don't want to be in a claim situation where you're not getting coverage or you're not getting enough coverage. It is the worst time. Prepare for your future, not to save $10.
Absolutely.
Awesome, guys. Couldn't agree with you guys more on that. So this has been Home to All, an all-inclusive real estate podcast. I'm your host, Nick Acosta, a licensed Florida real estate broker with Downtown Expert Realty LLC here in Central Florida, coming to you from downtown Orlando over the view at Lake Eola. And of course, just to let you guys, if you notice, guys, who I have rotated my green screen background to show off the features of my Bond Street house, 4985 Bond Street West. I know the sellers out there are listening or watching right now, so I wanted to tell them thank you very much for letting me, entrusting me with getting your house under contract, which went under contract officially late Sunday night. So we're very grateful for your support and help letting me do the work that I do to make this a possibility. And I look forward to seeing you guys there shortly in Kissimmee. So I know you guys are listening, and I'll see you guys soon. Mike and Marcus, thank you guys for a very good chat today. A really interesting topic about diversifying, and welcome for you to Blanchard Insurance there, Marcus, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And just so I don't want to sound like the media out there, remember to get out and vote today.
Yes, sir.
And all right, guys. So you guys can get me at 407-508-8809 or on Facebook, Instagram at downtown.expert, or visit my website, downtown.expert. And you guys got to see Stewie today, who's also in one of my older commercials. And thank you guys for listening, and thank you for dealing with the dogs barking at the house.
No,
I got it myself, so don't worry about it.
No, it's all good, guys. All right.
All
Well,
right,
you
man.
guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good day, guys.
All right.
good.
Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Nick.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Take care, guys.
This has been Home to All, an all-inclusive real estate podcast. Find Nick on Facebook and Instagram at downtown.expert, and also his website, www.downtown.expert, or call or text him at 407-508-8809. Thanks for listening.
Instead of spending hours or even days looking for your new home, let a downtown Central Florida expert guide you. Hi, I'm Nicholas Acosta, and I'm here to welcome you home. Being a Florida native, I know how exciting, convenient, and stylish the downtown Florida lifestyle is. Whether you're entertaining your guests or enjoying the views, Central Florida downtown has a lot to offer you and your family. Buying, selling, or investing, I'm your downtown Central Florida expert.